2025 is going to go down as one of the best years that video gaming has offered us. And not only in the last 10 years, not only in the 2000s, but of all time. This year, there have been 9 new releases with a 90 plus on Metacritic. And I say new releases because with the release of the Switch 2, there have been a couple remasters or re-releases on that console like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, so I'm not necessarily counting those here. But more importantly than that, this is without a doubt one of the tightest Game of the Year races we have seen in quite some time. Now, the Game Awards show hosted by Jeff Keighley, thank you, Jeff Keighley, I love you, Jeff Keighley, give me a kiss, Jeff Keighley, is not the end-all be-all for video gaming. However, this prestigious award show gives us a very good indication of what games people are playing, what is the best game to come out that year, and a sneak preview into our favorite hobby, and I happen to enjoy it a lot. And I think this year, out of all the years we've had in recent memory, is a very interesting Game of the Year race, because I think there are 6 games that could genuinely walk home with Game of the Year 2025. That's a lot of horses in a 6-horse race. Normally, there's only like 2 horses that really stand out, but now we have 6. Do the math. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, I'm going to tell you the 6 games that I think could easily walk away with the Game of the Year 2025 award. And at the end of this video, I will tell you exactly who I think is going to win this illustrious award. Let's get into it. Before we get into anything crazy, though, I do have to give 2 honorable mentions at the top of this video. First, we're going to start with Split Fiction, a game that up until recently I genuinely had in my top 6 going into the end of the year. But I have to be honest with you, I think I get a slight pullback on Split Fiction. Now, I will tell you this, in my personal opinion, I think that Split Fiction is Hazelight's best game of the trilogy. Now, granted, is the trilogy really a trilogy if it doesn't have a coherent storyline? No. But between A Way Out and It Takes Two and Split Fiction, I think that this is their best game. But I know a lot of people are really fond of It Takes Two over Split Fiction just because of the story aspect rather than the gameplay. However, I loved the gameplay of Split Fiction more, but that's just a personal gripe. But because of that, I'm seeing a lot of counterpoints between both sides. I'm gonna pull Split Fiction out of my top 6. My other big honorable mention for this year is going to be Ghosts of Yotei, and full disclosure, I love this game. I've been having so much fun walking around Ezo and slicing and dicing the random enemies that I come across as Atsu. I'm trying to not put a lot of spoilers out there because this game literally just came out a week after I'm recording, like a week before this. So a week before this game came out. So I don't want to give you guys a whole lot of, spoilers on this, but I'm really enjoying this game a lot. However, my biggest gripe, if I could say that, is I don't know if this game does enough differently from Ghost of Tsushima in order to warrant Game of the Year votes. Now, me personally, I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. I love this game, and it's going to go down as one of my personal favorites of the year. But when we're talking about these 6 big boys, I think that these are the definitive ones. And even though I love Ghost of Yotei and you should play it, I don't think it'll get nods just because it doesn't do enough differently. Could that change? I'm not sure. Let's get to the top 6. One of the most anticipated sequels of all time is going to obviously be Team Cherry's Hollow Knight Silksong, which of course is going to be making our list. And we did not know this game was going to come out until very recently when it randomly got shadow dropped, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's pretty fucking good. There has been a YouTube channel talking about Silksong and Hollow Knight for over 1,600 uploads. Since January of 2021, they have daily uploaded up until the release of Silksong. And if that doesn't tell you the amount of love that this Metroidvania series has, I'm not sure what will. Now, you guys know the Hollow Knight formula. This is one of the best Metroidvanias that we've ever seen, especially out of the indie realm, and it's got incredibly tight gameplay, very fantastic music, the environments are beautiful, and this game brings so much more to the table than the original had, including an insane amount of difficulty. I want it on record that why do games have to be this damn hard? I just want to enjoy video games again. Sometimes they're too damn difficult. Silksong was so well wanted that it broke every major digital game distributor on launch. Steam, Game Pass, PlayStation Store, Nintendo eShop, all of them were down. You couldn't get onto your favorite gaming platforms because of an indie game. Do you know how crazy that is? That is insane. That is GTA 6 levels of madness. Like, that is unfucking precedented. Not to mention breaking every single digital store, but it also had 100,000 concurrent players on Steam alone in the first 45 minutes, and by the end of day one, had over 500K. And again, that's not accounting for PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo. This game has been so well received and been so anticipated, and with indie games getting way more votes during the Game Awards. Go watch my video from last week if you're interested to talk about indie games. Thank you in advance, foreshadowing / non-shadowing. There is a very good chance that Silksong could walk away with the award. It wouldn't shock me, and it has been well deserved. Shout out Team Cherry. I love you. Nintendo is always guaranteed to get at least one game on the Game of the Year list, and DK Bonanza is a well-deserving entry. Now, I do not think the Switch 2 is worth playing DK Bonanza, but I'm going to be honest with you, this game's made by Nintendo EPD, and I think that that is a very cool thing, considering they made one of my favorite games ever, Super Mario Odyssey. The story follows Mr. Donkey Kong himself and a young Pauline on the quest for Banana rocks, dude. I can't spell, dude. I can't read. I can't talk. What do you want from me? I'm not a rapper. I'm not a rapper. Now, while I haven't played this game, I have seen a lot of gameplay and I've read a lot of reviews, and I'm gonna tell you this looks fucking sick. It's got fully destructible environments. The world looks incredible, and it's got, of course, that super duper swagalicious Donkey Kong music. Editing Drew, play that track. This game also is going to get a lot of love at the Game Awards due to it being one of the big titles on the Switch 2's very limited library. Talked about it at the top of the hour, how we don't have a lot of games on the Switch 2, and a lot of them are remakes, games like Tears of the Kingdom, and of course Breath of the Wild. But besides DK Bonanza, the only really big game on the Switch 2 right now that's a new release is the new Mario Kart, and I don't think that's ever going to get votes at the Game Awards, except unless you're Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is really good. Getting off topic. DK Bonanza is very, very solid. I think it will definitely get some votes. I'm not sure if it'll walk away with the award. You have to wait till the end of the video to see. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. If you were to tell me at the beginning of 2025 that an indie game would rise to the absolute tippy top of one of the favorite of the year to win Game of the Year, and it was not Hollow Knight Silksong, and it was not a game I'm going to be talking about later in this video, I would have never told you that it was a game called Blueprints, which is actually not spelled Blueprints. I thought it was spelled Blueprints, not Blueprints. Did I just break your mind? I know I did. Back to the video. It's one of the biggest indie games of the year. It's got one of the coolest gameplay loops, a maze roguelike where every decision, every room you open, every clue you find matters. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've only played a little bit of this game so far, but from what I can tell, there is so much to uncover here. I have seen people put thousands of hours into this game just to uncover the true ending. The people that I know that are playing Blueprints won't stop talking to me about Blueprints. That is how good this game is. This game was backpacked heavily by big streamers like Northern Lion and massive YouTube videos talking about this game, and overall, it's received an insane amount of success. And in addition to that, it was a Game Pass Day 1 title, which is always going to get a massive boost in player eyes, which is big for the indies if I'm being completely honest with you. I do want it on record that I'm recording this after Xbox Game Pass just increased its prices. Microsoft, you suck. That is not cool. The intricate maze gameplay has gotten people in a very big chokehold with this gameplay loop, and I can see the appeal. I think this is going to go down as one of the best indie games maybe ever made. And even if it doesn't win Game of the Year, which it might genuinely do, I think that we will look back on this as a genuine like flash in the pan that erupted into this massive fire. And I hope more games take chances on gameplay loops that are non-traditional for indies, because I personally don't know of any other game like this making a big splash in the video game industry. Congrats to Blueprints for being put on this list. You know how when Death Stranding 1 came out and everybody said, well, the gameplay is kind of mediocre, but there's a lot of really good music, the environments are cool, and Kojima did a lot of really good Kojima-ing, but man, I just wish this game had the one thing to make it interesting. Well, Death Stranding 2 added that one thing: fun. This game is fun to play. The story of Death Stranding 2 follows Norman Reedus' character Sam as he goes across the entire continent of Australia to connect survivors to the chiral network. Death Stranding 2 was received at a way higher clip in terms of popularity and likability than the first game I think ever was. And the main thing that I've heard people talk about Death Stranding 2 is that the game is just infinitely more fun. And it still brings all of that Kojima-esque to it. It has the great storyline, it has great voice acting outside of Norman Reedus and of course Troy Baker. There is just so much going on in this world that has all of these open world elements, and Kojima just knows how to make a good third-person action game. There's just no one that genuinely does it better than him, and Death Stranding 2 goes on to show that. And of course, with Sam embarking on this massive expedition, maybe foreshadowing, I don't know, you tell me, we also get way more gunplay in this game, which allows for the combat to feel way more alive. The first game had so many moments where it felt like you were just walking around. And while the first game had an incredible story, in order to hook the claws of this game into more gamers, you need to have a better gameplay loop, and that's exactly what Death Stranding 2 brings to the table. At the end of the day, this is Hideo Kojima at his absolute best, and while I do not necessarily know if the players and the voters will vote for this game, I cannot blame them for having it in the top 6, because let me tell you something, that dude knows how to make video games. I cannot wait to see what he cranks out next. I mentioned earlier that we did not know when Hollow Knight Silksong was going to be released, so up until the actual announcement of the release date, the one game that people were genuinely looking forward to this year was the 1.0 launch of Hades 2. Now, I say 1.0 launch because Hades 2 has been in early access for quite some time now, but it just recently had its 1.0 launch, which means it is now officially liable to win Game of the Year. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you thought Hades 1 was fun, you are in for a wild experience. Hades 2 follows the story of Mel, who is the daughter of Hades and brother of Zagreus, as she tries to take back the throne room that Hades once had, which was taken over by the Titan of Time, Kronos. We have new weapons, we have new abilities, we have a whole new casting system, we have a whole new gaggle of supporting characters, and we have way more arenas and god abilities to choose from. Hades 2 is the absolute perfect video game sequel. I will not be told otherwise, outside of course, Halo 2. I love Halo 2. Thank you, Halo 2. I have been, of course, distracted by a couple other big indie games that have been bonking me on the head. You get it. I get it. Shout out Mega Bonk. But Hades 2 is fantastic. It's a game I cannot stop playing, if I'm being honest with you. The gameplay loop is so incredibly fun, and even though this has only been a 5-year window from the 1.0 launch of Hades 1 to the 1.1 launch of Hades 2, there's so much in here that has been changed and modified that makes the gameplay feel so much more tight, and I love that about these games. The roguelike element is so uniquely experienced. I don't know how else to say it. I'm gonna be honest, I keep mumbling my words because I'm so excited about this game. I love this game. Play Hades 2. It has a chance to walk away with a Game of the Year award just like Hades 1 did, and I won't even be mad about it. I'm not gonna be mad if Hades 2 wins this damn thing. It deserves all of the praise. I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna say it. Expedition 33, one of the best games I've genuinely ever played in my life, and it deserves to be on this list for very good reason. Sandfall Interactive's turn-based RPG came out like a bat out of hell this year and got everybody and their mother talking about turn-based RPGs for the entire year. The game follows a group of French expeditioners as they try to save the rest of the human race due to death by the age of 33. It's a very interesting game. You got to play it. It's really difficult to explain without giving a bunch of spoilers, because I'm doing this spoiler free, obviously, because you guys should go play these games before the Game Awards even happen. Not only was Expedition 33 an Xbox Game Pass Day 1 launch title, but it also did something that I genuinely haven't had happen to me in a very long time. Make me want to play a turn-based RPG. Now, could that be due to the amazing voice acting work, the incredible environments, how cool the weapon systems are, or the amount of cool music that's in this game, or the big floating marionette puppet guy? I don't know. But you want to know what it really was? It was the interactive combat that really set this game apart. You see, Expedition 33 offers both a dodge move, which is genuinely a mechanic that you need to learn, otherwise you will just take damage and die, or a parry move that allows you to do more damage and also high risk, high reward. And I'm gonna be honest with you, without this move, I don't know if I would have loved this game as much as I did. 33 days after this game was launched, it reached gold status, and up until the time of this recording, it has sold well over 4 million copies. It is one of those games that comes out of nowhere and absolutely flashes all of us with how good video games truly can be, and goes against the grain of the amount of people saying that video gaming is dead, Have you played Expedition 33? Maybe you should give that a chance. Now we are here, 6 games into what I think is one of the best races of Game of the Year so far. And I'm going to be honest with you, my Game of the Year is going to obviously be... But I want to give some other counterpoints. I think Expedition 33 does everything right. The game makes you feel like you were immersed in these characters' lives, and I genuinely felt a compassion and heartbreak during some of these key moments in this game. It was absolutely fantastic. But in addition to that, I could see this race kind of going in a bunch of different ways. DK Bonanza is a very, very, very good game. Of course, it follows the Mario Odyssey trope, but it does everything that Mario Odyssey did and puts it to 100. Hollow Knight Silksong, one of the most anticipated video game sequels of all time, barring any kind of indie labels on it. It literally broke digital marketplaces. Death Stranding 2 did everything Death Stranding 1 did, but made it better with a more fun gameplay loop. Blueprints came out of absolutely nowhere in people's laps and balled out, and still people talk about this game like it is brand new and fresh back in April. And of course, Hades 2. One of the most anticipated games this year by name alone, due to Hades 1 winning a Game of the Year, and it came out and it absolutely stomped it. While I believe Expedition 33 should be Game of the Year, any one of these games could walk away with the award, which makes this year so unique. There's no clear-cut forerunner. I said clear-cut. I'm not redoing it. You heard it. I heard it. Let's move on. I say this with a lot of appreciation for the industry, because there have been a lot of years in the last 20, really in the last 5, that you've been like, that's going to be Game of the Year without really a question. But since 2018, which was, again, one of the tightest races we've ever had, if you guys remember, I talked about that in my Console Wars video. We had games like Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War 2018, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World. There were a lot of games that came out that year that were absolutely banging. And now we have the same thing in 2025. That's what makes this year so great. There's so many games to play outside of this top 6. Again, I'm not including games like Split Fiction, which is the best co-op game I've ever played, if I'm being completely honest with you, and Ghost of Yote, a great video game in and of itself. Of course, there's games like Mega Bonk, which came out. Have you played it? There's so many good games. Game of the Year 2025 is going to go down as one of the craziest years, genuinely, in gaming, and I think that we're going to be seeing a massive influx of discussion online. Let me know in the comment section what your guys' Game of the Year this year is. I'm always interested to hear what you guys are talking about and want to know where your head's at. If you were paying attention, 4 of the 6 games on my top 6 are indie games, which again proves the point that indie games are taking over. And if you want to hear me talk more about indie games taking over the video gaming space, you should check out this video from last week where I go do a deep dive on all things indie game related. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, ding the notification bell to never miss an upload, and until next time, I'm D3. Peace.